Another thing that we might want to go over is just the basics of what happened today. For those of you who have been joining us late and are curious about how this whole thing happened. Right after 5 o'clock, about 5 minutes after 5, California was hit by an earthquake that now is being measured anywhere from 6.7 to 7.0 on the Richter scale. The scientists are going to come up with different numbers as they assess the intensity, the magnitude, and the wave size of this quake. But right now, all we know is it was a big one and it caused some major damage. The epicenter is now located in Santa Cruz, and they say that it was the San Andreas Fault that did the moving. The quake was felt as a sharp jolt, and it was felt in buildings all the way up in Sacramento and all the way south to the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles. The most devastating evidence left by this quake is probably the collapse of the Cypress structure and also the upper deck of the Cypress structure on Highway 880 in Oakland. We have heard people describe what happened. In fact, we had remarkable videotape taken by 2 tourists who came onto the Bay Bridge and then turned around and saw part of the Bay Bridge collapse, and then we saw the Cypress structure, which was a mile-long double-deck structure, the top deck pancaking down on the bottom. From that single event, we understand that perhaps as many as 50 people have been seriously injured or killed. We, of course, don't have accurate counts of the number of victims. First, you saw the Bay Bridge. This is the Cypress structure. This is considered the most devastating and catastrophic collapse so far that we've heard of. And this is the Marina fire, the fire that is fueled by a broken gas line and that really made the greatest effect really on the waterfront. This is right up from the bay, not too far in, and it occurs on landfill. And that's why so many of the subterranean lines were grossly affected. Thank you, Ed. We now have some very disturbing news, a confirmation now apparently of 200 dead as a result of the 880 collapse. So far, we understand there were 400 injured and 200 people killed, and that is only for the 880 collapse. Clearly, so far, the greatest single loss of life, the greatest part of the tragedy. We've been talking about a lot of things that are really inconvenient and that stop people from getting places and doing things, but this truly is the most devastating part of the earthquake so far.
At 880, and then, of course, the Bay Bridge as well, with that part of it, and the devastation that continues in the Marina District of San Francisco. Right now, though, let's go to Pete Wilson, who left here a moment ago, to sort of get an overview of where all of this took place. Pete.
All right, you two. Well, that news from the 880 collapse, the Cypress collapse, is something we frankly have been waiting for, a mile-long collapse of that freeway section, and we knew that at rush hour it's quite often literally bumper to bumper, and we were very concerned about that death toll rising that high. But again, we'll tell you that virtually anything we tell you is subject to change virtually by the moment as they learn more. So that death toll there is about 200, as Ana and Don just reported. What we're going to try to do now is to give you a general overview of what has happened since shortly after 5 o'clock this evening. And I'll tell you that the lighting will probably look a little strange to you here, but we're on emergency power here at Channel 7 as well. I'm in our main studio, and we've got just a couple of lights here and enough power for the cameras to go, and that is about it. We have a strong signal for you. If you have power, you can see us, or if you're on portable systems, you can see us as well. Well, we have 7.0 listed now, but it's between 6.9 and 7.0, and there is a factor of 10 there, with each increasing 0.1 on the Richter scale, as we explained so many times to you. You should understand that and understanding the severity, but really that's a moot point at this point because we know it has been severe. The quake actually occurred here, or approximately here. They haven't gotten the epicenter squared away precisely, but between Santa Cruz and San Jose. It was felt as far away as Reno, Nevada, and we understand in eastern Nevada as well. Buildings actually shook a little in Los Angeles with that first initial hard rolling shock, and it was, as we felt it at Candlestick Park this afternoon, very much like being in a raft on some rough water. It was a very strange feeling, perhaps the most severe feeling we've had around here for a temblor in a long, long time. But curiously, the damage seems to have occurred for the most part, at least in reports that we're getting now, and we've just talked to Tom McHenry, the mayor in San Jose, here. All these 100 miles or so north in San Francisco, in Oakland, in those points in the East Bay, and of course some of the areas that we've been showing you during the course of this. I will tell you that earthquake experts had predicted precisely this general area as the spot where the probability of a quake was most likely to occur. They said a 30% chance between now and the year 2018. Well, if this is what they were talking about, they certainly hit the nail on the head. If we can go to the second graphic we have now, gentlemen, and it'll give you a better idea. The San Andreas Fault, as we all know, is really a massive crack in the earth that runs, you see the dotted line here, roughly to the north of Los Angeles, first to the east and north of Los Angeles, and then all up the coast of California, finally entering our own bay just north, and then on again across Point Reyes, Tomales Bay, and out into the Pacific Ocean. Basically what's happening is all of the western section, that is the section from Los Angeles here into San Francisco, is moving slowly northward. They say in a million years or so we will be roughly where Alaska is today. And that creates this tremendous force along the San Andreas Fault. That slipped. The experts told us this afternoon that what in fact happened was not the normal break and movement, but actually a horizontal slippage back and forth, giving us that sense of the terrible, terrible roll, and one of the reasons why we have so much severe damage here in the Bay Area. But that's a general overview. I'm going to move to another map now. We're going to go throw it back to the folks in the studio, but I'm going to move to another map and give you an idea what the transportation situation is. We've set that up on a big board as well, and that might help as you're sitting there trying to understand how you're going to get around the city. Our suggestion, again, is don't try to get around the city, at least for a while. Don and Cheryl?
All right,
Okay,
Pete will
Peter.
be right back to you, yes.
We have some late word on the numbers. Of course, we've been telling you all evening that several people have been killed and many more injured. We're getting somewhat official word tonight from the Office of Emergency Services right now that at least 200 people,
I have an
200 people
updated figure
were
on
crushed
that
to
now.
death.
250 people.
250 people
Yeah.
were crushed to death in their cars when a mile-long section of the upper level of Interstate 880 in Oakland collapsed onto the lower level. That's according to the Public Information Officer for Alameda County, Marty Boyer. And we have pictures of it there once again. It's that tragic scene that we saw earlier in the day.